Hello, Star Wars fans. Today is going to be my breakdown review of Bad Batch, Season 3, Episodes 10 through 11, which I'm calling From Bad to Worse, because boy, do we ever see some dark times in the Star Wars universe. Man, these episodes are dark. Now, lots to talk about. Real excited to go over it. There will be spoilers, but as long as you're okay with that, then let's dive right in and see what we can find out. Don't forget, we do have a contest running all month long. Be a subscriber, leave a comment. You might win a book or a steelbook. Best of luck. And of course, we have the membership option if you want to help me with my goal of doing this full time one day. But honestly, no matter how you support the channel, it's all greatly appreciated. Leaving comments, liking videos, subscribing, it all goes a long way. So thank you so much. All right, so it is not a good day to be a Force-sensitive kid in the Star Wars universe. As they notice, this kid looks like he can barely lift a vase that big, yet he chucked one across the room. So these nibby noses are talking about the fact that, yeah, I told you he was strange. People say he's cursed, gifted. And that's all it takes for this Aqualish to go, oh, well, then I'm calling a Class 1 bounty hunter with a tip because there's a kid you might be interested in. Man, are like all Aqualishes evil? I mean, is there at least one good one in the Star Wars universe? Not today, at least. Not with this one. All right, so then we get another tease for a big reveal coming, I hope, where we learn what on earth is inside these containment units. I mean, my guess is these are the creatures they've been experimenting on, like the Zilla Beasts. So let me know your thoughts. But yeah, not today for the reveal. Not today. On the other hand, we do find that Dr. Carr is getting a promotion. It's one she may regret, but at the time seems like a good thing, right? She says the lab has been, the progress has been stalled because of Nala Se's confinement. So Hemlock's like, okay, cool. You want to be the new chief scientist? Now, it seemed a little quick at first, but she does mention she's worked for him for years. So, she's the right person to pick. What Hemlock doesn't know is how she's been kind of getting a little concerned about what's going on. Well, she's really going to be concerned now because she's about to learn all about Project Necromancer. Sure, she's going to learn about the assets in the sub-level containment chamber, which we saw, or we want to see, but she's also going to get access to the vault. We've been waiting to see what on earth is behind all this security. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this. I did not expect kids. Wild. I mean, is this a new low for the Empire? And I'm saying that considering the Empire destroyed Alderaan, killed the younglings, but I don't know. There's something even worse about ripping kids away from their parents and subjecting them to this emotional, mental abuse and physical abuse as well. Yikes. Anyway, so we do learn that these particular three were selected because of their high M count. Hemlock says there's very few adults left with such characteristics. Well, of course, that's because you had them all killed, Order 66. And the few that aren't killed are being hunted down by Inquisitors. So yeah, that kind of makes sense, right? Although this did make me kind of smile, because he says kids are easier to attain and more agreeable to their subjugations. So they're hunting down these Force-sensitive kids, even though they had Force-sensitive kids at their disposal, right? When they went in after the younglings, but they killed them all. Now, I do think I see why they did that, though. If you think about it, the Jedi had already been working with these kids, probably had a bunch of influence over them. They would have been impossible to subjugate. So I get why they're looking for new ones, but you do kind of have to chuckle that they killed a bunch of them, and now they got to go find more. Pretty wild. That's what happens, Empire, when you don't really think through all your strategies, right? But anyway, we do learn why Omega is so important. Because, as Hemlock explains, M count cannot be directly replicated from the source. The young clone, Omega, her blood is the only binder that's proven to be compatible with their DNA to recreate their M count levels. Fascinating. To me, this is a huge reveal. Does that mean that Omega is not Force sensitive? Because what I thought they wanted Omega because she was going to have a really high M count. She may, I guess, eventually, but not probably not, right? Because they're saying it's her blood is a binder, letting others who have a high M count transfer their M count to another subject. Very, very interesting. So let me know your thoughts. Did this close the door on Omega being Force sensitive? That's kind of my feeling, but anyway, it'd be interesting to see where this all ends up going. But Hemlock says, limit your personal interactions with the specimens. So we're going to see just how badly they're treated as the episode continues on. But not before Cad Bane makes a grand appearance. Love Cad Bane. Love his clothes, love his outfit, love his attitude. He's just so stinking cool and so stinking evil, right? He tells Toto to go over and test that little kid that was mentioned at the beginning of the episode. And once he finds out the M count's high enough, he says, that'll do. That'll do. So he grabs the kid, throws him in the containment unit, and this is probably the last look at his mom the kid's ever going to have. Yikes. Or at least unless Tantus gets disrupted and maybe he gets returned to his mom. But as far as Cad Bane's concerned, he's never going to see his mom again. Which is interesting because if you think about it, way back in the early seasons of the Clone Wars, there was an episode, Children of the Force. And what was happening in that? Cad Bane was hunting down Force-sensitive kids for Sidious. Isn't that insane? Is it possible that this was an early beginning to Project Necromancer? I mean, probably they weren't thinking about it back then, but it works perfectly. That's all I know. I mean, literally, Cad Bane was hunting Force-sensitive kids for Sidious way back in the early Clone Wars episodes. Insane. Insane. All right, so then we get to see more of the suffering and really feel the suffering of these kids, right? The kid says, what happened to Mistress Nala Se? She hasn't been back. And, of course, Emery says, well, she's been taken off the project. And the kid says, yeah, but she said she'd find out for me when we're going to be going home. Can you find out for me? Oh, my goodness. It's just painful. It's just painful. And then this kid being experimented upon, the closed captions make it even worse. Drill whirring. I mean, granted, you heard a drilling sound, but to see them acknowledge, oh, no, it's a drill. It's actually a drill. So the kid bolts and just can't get out and is screaming. They said I could go home. I just want to go home. But no one cares. They stun him and basically say the specimen attempted to escape and I was following protocol. Man, oh man, oh man, just evil. Then Nala Se gives a little pep talk to Emery and says, look, I did what I could. Now they will look to you. What will you do, Emery? So yeah, I really do think Emery's going to end up helping Omega when Omega gets returned to Tantus, and that these are the moments where she's making those decisions. But not before Tarkin appears, right? Love Tarkin. Tarkin is awesome. And it always seems he's following the money, right? He says questions have been raised regarding the financial impact your facility is having upon Imperial resources. And of course, Tarkin's saying that because he wants the money to build the Death Star. He doesn't want money going to anything else. So it's kind of funny. Here we are in 18 BBY, 17 BBY, somewhere around there. And, Tarkin's following the money. But right before A New Hope, even in the Star Wars timeline, here's Tarkin still following the money. This is him talking to Thrawn and saying, if the construction of the Defender is to continue, you must make the case directly to the Emperor himself. So we're talking about the Jedi Knight episode in the final season of Rebels, but it just cracks me up, man. Dude must be an accountant, right? He's a bean counter because he really, really cares about the money. Love it. But we also learn, no matter how powerful a Tarkin may be, even this experimentation is classified. So the Emperor is not sharing this with Tarkin. Clearly, nobody knows what's going on. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Then, do we get some bad news for Sid here? Yikes, because CX2 says, I tracked down the Transdojan, that would be Sid, and pulled some intel out of her. That doesn't sound good. So did Sid literally die off screen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but my guess is yes. This is the last we're going to see of Sid, which again shows how dark these episodes are, that she's killed off screen. Yikes. But then we learn that Sid, gave up the name of a pirate, of course, Fee, that's been in contact with the target. So CX2 is tracing the breadcrumbs back to Pabu. Yikes. All right, so then we see Cad Bane makes his delivery. Oh, that sweet little kid. Yikes. And then Emery says, the specimen is younger than I expected. Yeah, they're going really young here. And then she asks, how many others like this have you captured? And Cad Bane says, let's just say I'm good at my job, which fits perfectly again with that Clone Wars episode, because he's definitely gone after Force sensitives in the past. And so now with this new edict from the Empire to find more Force sensitives, he is the perfect one for the job. Ties together so awesome. Well done, Star Wars. Well done. All right, so this, I think, is the big turning point for Emery, because Emery learns that it's standard operating procedure for a subject to be isolated for 2 rotations as punishment for following an escape attempt. 2 rotations for that kid in isolation. My word. So then this other kid says, we all just want to go home. We want to go home. So yeah, I think this is where Emery, thinks back to what Nalase said, thinks about all the things she's seen, and this is kind of an indication that she's turning away from Hemlock because she gives the kid the stuffed animal that Omega made. Very sweet, and maybe good news for Omega whenever Omega returns. That I think Emery is going to be an ally. All right, so then CX2 is on the job, and while Fee is filling up the ship with gas, CX2 decides to run on to the ship, right, and get the information about the Bad Batch, and then bolts before Fee even finds out. So I'm kind of curious. I know there's a lot of people that say Tech is the one underneath the CX2 armor, and I don't think so. I don't subscribe to that theory necessarily, but I will point out that this is interesting that Tech and Fee, remember, kind of had a really strong friendship. It would make sense, therefore, that CX2, if it's Tech, would have tried to avoid hurting Fee. So, hey, for those of you that are theorizing that's Tech under there, this is a good indication. Could be true. I'll tell you what my theory is, that CX2 has the blood of several of the clones. He's kind of got the blood of Tech. He's got some from Crosshair. That basically he is like a super version of all of them combined. But anyway, Tech theorists, you get a check mark for this episode. Anyway, Hunter and them are finally leaving, but I would argue not soon enough. They should have gotten their ship right behind Saj Ventress. As soon as the Saj left, they should have been gone. But nonetheless, they're finally leaving now. We get the little cameo from the kids. You remember them from earlier in this season, episode 2, when they found them in the jungle there. Small role. In fact, I wondered, would these kids be captured by the Empire as well? But they want Omega. They don't care about these kids anymore, obviously. And then another hint that they want us to remember Tech, because Omega leaves his goggles behind, kind of with these other mementos. So, man, it's a... Tech theorists, you're looking good this episode. You're looking good. So then, same cave, different visitor, right? The same cave that Asajj Ventress went in, only this time it's CX2. And he goes and hunts down Omega, finds her, and oh man, Omega, you got to get a better headshot. Honey, that is not a good look. They look like a zombie there. I mean, they take better pictures of the license branch for driver's licenses. So yeah, get her a new headshot, please. But anyway, then the Marauder goes down. What a bummer. They keep wiping out these ships. So that bomb was shot by CX2 onto the ship. In fact, several were. And of course, Wrecker, of all people, being the explosives guy, senses it, realizes there's a problem, grabs Gonki and gets away just in time. Well, or sort of gets away in time. That don't look good, right? But he lives. He lives. In fact, we find out that... that the kids are going to take Wrecker to Sheps to have AZ patch him up and fast. So we do see that Wrecker makes it, but he's not doing well. He's not doing well. And then CX2 lays down the ultimatum. This dude, he says, I know the girl's here, and until she's turned over to me, your island will burn. Wow. So, man, look, I don't care how evil CX2 is. Killing Batcher, now that's going to make me mad, right? I mean, look at that. It's a kill shot on Batcher. They're trying to kill him. Luckily, his natural defenses are strong enough that a blaster fire doesn't stop him. But man, I would have been mad if you kill Batcher. Man, that ain't right. But we do see Batcher at the end. He's okay. And then Hunter makes his move. This was really cool. Gets behind this cart, rolls across the platform, jumps on the back of the ship, chucks the stormtroopers out the back. Love that. But as dramatic as that was, CX2 makes his own move. This is why I do think he's got some Crosshair blood in him, if he's not just an outright a clone of Crosshair, because this shot on that pilot was pretty impressive. Plus, the poor pilot was asking for help, not to be killed. But anyway, ship goes down, Hunter jumps out, so he's taken out of the picture. He's okay, but he's no longer able to help. So now we're basically down to just Omega and Crosshair. And she says our only choice is to let them capture me. She's willing to make the sacrifice play, even convincing Crosshair of it, saying, focus on the bigger mission, Crosshair. I'm just a small part of it. Wow, has she ever grown up in these 3 seasons? Very, very cool. All right, so she goes and says, take me, leave the island alone. The people here are innocent. And then, CX2 just drops it bomb, right? He says, then you never should have come here in the first place. He is so cold, so cold. Anyway, then we see that Plan A is going to fail. Plan A was to put a tracking device on her in hopes that the batch could track her when she goes back to Tantus, but they find it. Now, I will throw out, It's possible they actually put more than one tracking device on her, which would be pretty sneaky, maybe one in her boot or whatever. So that may be the way that they still find her. We'll see. But it looks like at least plan A failed. And then unfortunately plan B fails because Crosshair is unable to stick the landing with the tracking device that he shoots at the ship. Now, in fairness, he had just been shot himself and he was running and the ship was flying. So that was a tough shot even in the best of days. But anyway, unfortunately that fails and we see poor Omega sitting on the ship using her meditation, inhale, exhale, and then she ponders what's next. As do we. As do we. 2 very, very dark episodes. Loved them. They were great. Cannot wait for the next one. Juggernaut. I do not know what that's going to be. But clearly the last 3 episodes, I think, are an attack on Mount Tantus. So, whew. Tell me your thoughts, but I thought these were fantastic episodes. All right, and here's our timeline again, and this is going to get more complicated with Tales of the Empire coming out. Wasn't that cool looking? Cannot wait to try to figure out how Tales of the Empire fits into all of this. Don't forget, April contest, right? Be a subscriber, leave a comment, win a book or a steelbook, and of course the membership option if you're interested in that. And the Discord. I always like to mention the Discord. Here we are talking about this very episode and the timeline overall. So I will leave a pinned comment so you can join the Discord. 1,300 members across the globe, 24/7 conversations going on. Love to have you join us. So in the meantime, let's all await the next exciting episode of Bad Batch.